I recently bought an avocado tree that I really wanted to get growing in this area. I've been planting different things in this general area, and basically it's a new area for us. I mean, I've got bay rum here, I've got a nice big black sapote tree, and this was fairly empty. So put in a lot of mango trees, an avocado tree, and then I bought this avocado tree, which used to have roots. It is Nishikawa, which is a very nice variety, and I was hoping to get a big tree established quickly. Unfortunately, we've been having a lot of wind lately, and this was victim to it. I even staked this plant when I planted it. It was not enough to keep it from breaking, and as you can probably see, this is, it's a little bit of a jagged break. And so after I saw this, the first thing I did was to cut off as much as I was comfortable cutting here, and I'm hoping that it sprouts out below, and that I think the graft is here, but I'm not sure. So I'm crossing my fingers that this will start growing and be Nishikawa. So this is not ideal. I would rather have this top on this root and it be a happy tree. But when you get a bunch of lemons, you gotta try and make lemonade. So what I'm going to do with this is harvest scions from it and try to graft it onto avocado rootstock that I have in the shade house. I'm not sure if it's going to be successful or not, but avocado is a pretty easy variety of tropical fruit to graft. So we'll just have to see how that works out. And of course, I will keep an eye on this part of the tree, the base, and make sure that it is not dying. And I'm not sure really if there's any special treatment that I could give it at this point. It's got a very nice root system, and so as long as it gets a little bit of water here and there, it should do fine. But we'll come back and check on that later. Right now, I don't have time to graft these scions, so I'm going to keep this, basically the rest of the tree besides the 4 inches, in the shade, and then later today I will try to graft. But that is an unfortunate story for this, what used to be a beautiful avocado tree, and now it is an avocado tiny stump, and the rest of the tree separated from its root. Here's that branch, well, not a branch, it's like the whole tree that came off of the Nishikawa. And so I am going to try and get some scions ready to graft. And I got some random stuff out of the shade house. I was able to find a few avocado rootstock. And what I did was, a couple hours ago, watered them thoroughly, so hopefully there's lots of sap running through. And some of these scions seem like they're too young, so I'll get the biggest ones off first, see how that goes, and then depending on how adventuresome I feel, I might try for some other ones. Basically what I'm cutting is, well, these are all firm. The wood is firm, well, fairly. And so that should be good probably for 2 grafts, I'd say. This one doesn't have any buds below this lowest leaf, and so I think that one's going to be just for 1 graft. And it does concern me that there's all these leaves on that. We're just going to experiment with some of this stuff because I have this big old piece, some might call it a tree, of Nishikawa, and so I'm just going to see if I can get get this established on some of this rootstock. With this one, I'm going to leave all sorts of stuff on here. There's some of these buds have sprouted out. It's more complicated to, wrap this scion, but I'll see if it works. Avocado is a rather forgiving variety of tropical fruit to graft, but I'm not sure if it's this forgiving. So we'll see. So I think I'll sort of wrap the main part of this scion, and then go back and wrap the little shoots. Finish wrapping this first one that I started with. It's rather delicate, so you don't want to pull too hard with the buddy tape. Okay, so we're halfway there on getting these little shoots wrapped. It's not something I've tried before with wrapping these little shoots, but I do like to try new stuff. So this is an experiment for me. And of course, you got to make sure that you don't leave anything uncovered, because things can die. At least, mostly graft mangoes, and I've had plants die just from having a 1/4 inch of the scion unwrapped. I just have this very top part to wrap, and then can move on to something else. And wrapping this tender stuff, you just sort of have to support that whatever the young growth is, because otherwise it can just break right off. So that's a weird looking scion. Sort of something to scare you away if you're walking through a haunted house or something. Okay, so get a few more. Here we have, this particular piece is looking much easier, famous last words, and it's pretty big. You don't need this much for one graft. So I'm going to make, I guess, 2, possibly, scions out of this piece. Don't think I can make 3, but maybe I'll try. Okay, there's our 3. See the growth coming out of all these places there. It'll be a lot easier to wrap than the previous one, because these are not like huge. They're just newly sprouted out, looks like. And as I said, this is like one big experiment for me. I certainly have grafted some avocados, but I mostly graft mangoes. And this is a unique situation with the avocado, where I had the drama there with the the plant breaking almost at the ground, and trying to use that as an opportunity to hopefully make some more Nishikawa plants. Need just a teeny bit more of the buddy tape to finish off the top. This is one part that doesn't have it. And, you know, of course, with the buddy tape, you have to stretch it in order for it to stick to other buddy tape areas. Okay, so there's Scion number 2. And this one has a couple of nice buds developing. It's going to be a little shorty Scion, but very quick to grind to wrap. Okay, number 3. And I think that I'll just graft these and see how it goes. So of course, one of the things you want to do is look at the thickness of the Scion and select rootstock accordingly. So, you know, this is a lot thicker at the bottom. You don't need to make that, you know, use such a big Scion. There's no buds in other areas, so just cut that off. And this is probably going to be a good, yeah, this looks pretty good. Graft right onto this. A lot less wind resistance once you take the leaves off. So I'm just going to do a cleft graft of this. And so just want to make a V. Okay, that looks good enough. See, you try and imagine it being one cell thick at the bottom point. And so that looks like good enough. So this is very firm, the Scion is, and also the rootstock. It's just the only rootstock I had, so it does have the disadvantage of sometimes it will be too firm. We'll see what we can do on this. Okay, I think that's about right. I might have gone a little bit past, but try and bend it a little bit first so it doesn't like crack or break. Okay, let's see if that does it. I'll give you the fun side on that side. Okay, so that looks good. I don't think I'll even need to put an elastic on it because it is very firm in there. I really think that the shape of that is pretty darn funny, but there's the first one. We'll do this little short one. Big contrast. It's like the baby brother or whatever. But I do need to find something that's hopefully thicker. I can just use this one, I think. That should work. So this bottom is much bigger than just a little bit up here, so I'm gonna, let's see, I'll just take the worst part off. And I think it's probably a good area there. I think I'll, what am I going to do? Well, I might as well just experiment. I've never done the slash graft with this, with an avocado. I'll try that out. Try to look for where a curve is and work with that. And there really isn't one. It's pretty straight. So I guess I'll go here. Let's take a, get it going a little bit. It's kind of teeny weeny because of the small, very small scion, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so this is much smaller than that, but if it's going to work, if it's not going to work, that won't be the issue. It seems like there's a lot of experiments going on with this one. I'll use an elastic because of the type of graft here. I start at the top of where the graft is and then work my way down. It's very short, so I don't need to wrap it very much. So yeah, as I said, a lot of experimentation going on with this particular graft. So thinking it's going to be a low probability of success, but you never know until you try. Okay, so that's all covered up. And we'll do one more and call it a day. Okay, so this one is somewhat flexible, that's nice. This one is too. I'll use this one. I think this, yeah, should work out okay, I think. I think I'll just do a standard cleft graft. Very soft wood. Okay, so it's a little bit skinnier than here, so I'm just going to move to the, see the top is sort of a oval shape. I'm going to go off center so it's a narrower part of that I'm cutting into. Should work out better for this scion. Bend it a little bit. I've got, yeah, it should work out. Oh, didn't get it quite deep enough. Okay, that should do it. Okay. Let's wrap it up. A little bit more buddy tape to cover all that area. Not a lot of areas, just little pieces of buddy tape. Okay, so it's sealed up. I just need to put some grafting elastic on it, make sure it stays, the contact stays nice and good. Okay, so that's three pretty good examples of grafting. Has a little bit different situation for each of those grafts, and we'll just hope they all take. That would be lovely if they did. So I just want to come back and check on that little stump of a plant that was left in the ground after the wind yesterday. I feel like I'm on a Hollywood movie set. Movie magic right here. We have a Nishikawa avocado, and it's as big as the last one was, but I know it wasn't the last one. And the only thought that came to mind as far as how this happened, well, the one word I came up with was Shannon. So, Shannon, what happened here?
I've always liked to be a little bit of a gremlin. So when I saw how disappointing this was to have just gotten it and had the wind knock it over and just snap it in half, I went out and just got a replacement and snuck it in. Didn't tell Chris, and I thought it'd just be fun to let her figure it out on her own. So,
so this was a project, though, because I happen to know that was a long way away that you had to drive to get this plant. So,
well, at least it was during rush hour.
Yes, so. You will always have those memories. Well, thank you very much, Shannon.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Was, you know, the good thing is I'm very glad that when you dug this up from the ground that you put it in a pot so that we could still have our experiment, because I think that it might grow out as Nishikawa. Of course, I need to be a little bit patient, but we do still have our experiment running.
Yep.
And so thank you very much.
No problem. I was very careful, because it's an avocado, not to disturb the root ball when I put this one in the ground or took that one out. They are particular about that, as I've come to learn.
The last one got knocked over by the wind, and so it seems like you have put a little extra protection on this one. Could you describe what has happened?
Yeah, and the difference here a little bit is the stake that protected this one had degraded at the ground level and had kind of rotted away. It's like just falling apart.
We can just take that whole thing out. That was what was left of the stake, and that happens with you know, bamboos. When it gets wet over time, it'll get a lot weaker, especially when it stays wet. So that is part of the problem.
Yeah, so it wasn't offering the support it needed to. And then this Nishikawa is a vertical grower, and so it was very tall. And so when I went and got the other one, I made sure it had a fresh bamboo stake that was tall enough to support the height of the tree as it was. And then because, as you can see, we've got such strong winds going and it was just put in the ground, we added an additional bamboo stake, but made sure and put it in the ground away from the root ball to not disturb the root ball when we inserted the stake, and then made sure and strap it up high as well as
Well, excellent. Well, we'll just have to cross our fingers. You know, we've been having such high wind for so long, and you know, theoretically it should calm down at some point, and that will make it a lot easier. They definitely get stressed. Even when they don't break, they get stressed with all this wind, and so hopefully it will have happy growing conditions soon. So as I recall, Shannon, I got a very small Nishikawa from you a few years back, and I know that this is a variety of avocado that you really like. And so since you do a lot of reading on avocados, could you just talk about the Nishikawa Avocado?
Well, when working at the front counter, a lot of times people ask about Hass avocados, and they don't grow great in Florida. There are some variants like Florida Hass and Super Hass, but they all have their challenges. Nishikawa is a Hass tasting or similar flavored avocado to Hass. It loves growing in the Florida environment. They are larger. They are larger than a Hass. They have a light nutty flavor, but they're very creamy, and like I said, the tree is just really well adapted to Florida growing environment. So I think it's a great option as an alternative to folks that want Hass varieties here in Florida, but have had challenges growing the original Hass, Florida Hass, or the Super Hass, which used to be called Ooh La La. And so it's just one that I like really well. It's an attractive fruit, just a little bit bigger than a regular Hass, and very similar eating characteristics with a light nutty flavor.
All right. So I'm assuming you have Nishikawa yourself at your place?
I do. It's something with avocados where, mango growing, I pay attention to a lot of obviously Florida growers. When it comes to avocados, I do tend to kind of keep up with some of the California growers, and some of them have identified some strategies to growing in tighter confines with avocados, because you can, maintain even a vertical grower at about 8 or 10 foot, maybe 12 foot, with about a 6 foot spread, and still get a lot of avocados out of it. And kind of the information that I've been reading and seeing on some of the channels is the larger the tree, you get a lot of shade on the inside of the tree, which doesn't really help it grow more fruit.
Yeah, the inside is not the producing area of the tree. It's so you want to have it as narrow and as tall as possible to have the most productivity.
Exactly, and because this is a vertical grower, it seemed to be one that would be good for that kind of attempt. So at my house, I have kind of a small row of them, and have kind of strategically looked for varieties that will play nice in that environment. Reed is another one. Some people use it to create like a fence line or a hedge, and then Maria Black is a newer variety to us here in Florida that has a reputation for a dwarfing growth habit, as well as, I believe, one of your favorites, which is Russell, which Russell is reputed to have a slightly more diminutive growth habit than others. So I have those all kind of in a row, and I'm going to attempt to compact growing style. So.
Yeah. So you're getting into the avocado business.
I do like a lot of avocados, and we have a great variety of them to choose from here in Florida. And I have toyed with getting a couple varieties from California to see how they'll do in our climate. So it's somewhat of an experiment as well.
Yeah, learning experience.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.